I'm Anna, the Yarn Randomizer, and this is episode 38, yes, looking at my notes, of the Yarn Randomizer. And now I'm going to draw a blank and look at my notes again. One of these days I'll actually have a smooth beginning to my podcast. So this is a yarn podcast, or knitting podcast, and oh my gosh, really, I've been discombobulated. It's been an odd day. We had a power outage, a variety of other things going on. You can see that it's dark outside through my window, and so this is normally much later than I record. But this is a knitting podcast, and welcome to new folks who just discovered this, and welcome back to folks who keep coming back. I really appreciate it, and I hope you continue to enjoy what you've been seeing here. You can find me on Instagram as the Yarn Randomizer, same on Ravelry, the Yarn Randomizer, and you can find, I have my Gmail address is that, and I have a Spreadshop link below, as well as a regular mailing address for the channel. So that's all down below. And then finally, why Randomizer is because I actually have my bucket of chips with me this time. I have all my yarns in my stash numbered with numbers in a spreadsheet, and occasionally I have my husband about every other week pick a number out of here for a yarn to think about a project to do with it. So I just randomly, for the most part, pick from my stash for knitting. And so that's something I'll show every episode as far as random yarns being pulled out of my stash. So, and finally, please like and subscribe. It helps more people find the channel. And let's just get right to it. So, giveaway this week. I'll put a picture of the yarn up. It's the yarn from last week. Again, I'll have the picture there. I had asked people to put the word apple. It was from, I think, Apple Fiber Studios, and it was colorway Malala. And the person whose name got randomly picked out of the list was La Chefication, or Stella Mare. And so if that's you, please email me and let me know, and we'll figure out how to get that skein of yarn to you. So now there will be another skein of yarn that'll be coming up in my stash management that I'll be giving away, continuing to try to dig myself out of the hole I've gotten myself into this year. We'll see. And then finally, let's see. Oh, and one thing I forgot to talk about last time I meant to cover is at the beginning, I also want to cover about how much has come in on the channel. So between the channel and the Spreadshop, I've gotten in about, probably a little, so it's around $65 so far between the two. I have to go add them up again. But when I get to 100, I'll take that first 100 and I will do a giveaway where I'll do a $100 gift certificate to your local yarn shop. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. So I'm hoping we might get pretty close to that by the end of the year. Maybe it'll be, I have an episode that'll be coming up a few days after Christmas, and so it'd be super cool to be able to do that at that time. So we'll see. Let's see. And then the other little thing I wanted to bring up, and this is one that I don't normally do at the beginning, but I did want to ask folks their opinions. I have a Christmas cast on that I'm going to do, and I've got some DK yarn that I don't know what it looks like yet. It's in a Christmas Eve cast on box. I have enough to make a sweater, and so I've got two that I'm thinking of, and so I'll put in the two pictures. I'll put one and then the next one. The first one is the Fleur de Mai by Tricot Design MCL, and that's a little short sleeve kind of, both of them have kind of lace elements, and so there's a picture of that one. And the other one is the Campside Classic, is another possibility. And so if you have any thoughts on which one of those you tend to find more interesting or think would be better, and I'll post an Instagram post when I actually see what the yarn looks like and maybe get another reboot, kind of revisit on that. But if you have any strong opinions right now, let me know, because I'm kind of like at a toss-up between those two patterns right now. So with all that preliminary stuff out of the way, let's get to what am I wearing. And so today I had finished this. It's City Limits by Tennis Lavely. And I had shown how I'd woven in all the ends of this finally after it had been sitting in my finishing basket for 4 years. And so today I'm wearing it. So you can see all the different shades that happen on it. And it's got a little detail, a couple of details along the side, and you can see how the raglan increases when you wear the stockinette side out. You get this detail. It's reversible, but I kind of prefer this side. But I used 5 different fingering weight yarns out of my stash. There was 1 from Cornbread and Honey, 3 from Stitch Together, and 1 from Vicious Yarn. 2 of those dyers don't dye anymore. But if you look at the project, you can see what the colors were. But the main thing was that I would have some hot pink in here. It would transition to that. One that had both the pink and the yellow, and then the yellow, and then down to one that just had the yellow and some other colors in it. And I think it worked out great. The only issue I have is I made it longer than I normally would. And so as a result, I'm a little short on the sleeves. But since this is all superwash, I'm thinking over time this is going to have a tendency to relax a little bit. But yeah, I'm really happy with how it came out. It's got I-cord on the sleeves and on the neck, and it's also got I-cord on the bottom. Let's see if you can bring that up. I would say I like the I-cord on the neck and on the sleeves. I'm not sure about the bottom. I might do, if I did the sweater again, I might do something different at the bottom section. So, but other than that, I really love it. It's super warm, unbelievably warm. It's good because right now, I think we had a high in the 20s or low 30s today, and it's getting down to the teens tonight. So it's going to be very cold here. All right, so that's, oh, and the mohair, I have black mohair throughout this, and that's Barocco Ariel mohair that I used in this. All right, so now to finished objects. So I actually think this guy is basically done. I might tidy him up a little bit more, but for those who haven't seen it before, this is a little bird that my son asked me to make for him, for a girl he knows, for a woman he knows, and my son's not a kid either. He's in his 20s, mid to late 20s, which is unbelievable. But yeah, so there's that little bird, and you can see that little crown I got for them. I've got 3 colors of crown. But yeah, so this is just this little bird that he asked me to make. I've got a couple of ends to tidy up a little bit, and I may smooth this out and maybe round it down here a little bit more. But I think basically it's done. The wings are a leaf pattern that I found, kind of a double knit leaf, and you can find it, I have it linked in the project. And this bird pattern I altered significantly. Let's see, I'm trying to think of how to hold this up here. Actually, let me hold it up there with the crown, if I don't drop the crown. Oh, let's see, ta-da. But it just ended up super cute. And so I'll be getting this off in the mail pretty soon. And so that's that one. That one's been finished and then moved back into in progress, and now it's finally really finished. Except I may tinker with it a little bit more, but I think it's basically done. All right, the other thing that I finished was I think I had covered, yes, I had talked about this last time. I finished my husband's Brio Clava. And so there it is. And I really like that nice low contrast in the brioche with it's a alpaca silk fuzzy yarn there in between. Both of these are drops yarn. The main yarn is Lima in their olive mix, and then the fuzzy yarn, let's see if you can see it better from the inside. Yeah, let me put that up there. That is moss green in their brushed alpaca silk. So yeah, so that turned out really nice. This is the 4th one of these I've made, and I do the pattern a little differently. At the bottom here, I don't cast off. I just leave the stitches live and work up from there. It's got this folded over frame around the face, this part around the face here, and then up at the top, instead of casting off these 2 edges on each side, I just work this like the heel of a toe-up sock, where I combine stitches as I go back and forth to bring it together. And so I think it comes together really well as a result. And so It's turned out very nice. Let's see a peek over that. And so that's done. I think that's the last one of those I'll be making for a while. I've made 4 of them now, and they are fun to do. I think they turn out really nice. But yeah, I got some other balaclavas I think I'd like to make next time I do one. All right, so that's those 2. And this was the 29th yarn picked for this year. So I jumped down in my list as I pick random picks, because some projects take longer than others and stuff, and I've got for some reason this year I've picked a lot of sweater quantities, and so I've had to have small projects to work, I've had to jump down in my queue, and you'll see more of that going on. So now those are my 2 finished objects. So now the works in progress, the motorcycle sweater. So I didn't get quite as far as I said I was going to, but I got past a major part of this sweater, and that is I got the helmet design put that up there, completed on the front of the sweater. And so now as it goes up, it's going to have this gray coming in at an angle from the side and continuing with these little red 4-stitch spots there in intarsia. And so it'll work up that way. This side, it'll just say solid white along here, all the way up. And so, yeah, so there it is. I still find these patterns just so odd. This knits very quick because this is a bulky, and you do not want to see the back of this. Obviously, I have to do some tidying up in here because I've got a lot of loose ends that are leaving parts of stitches insecure. When I weave these in, I'll neaten up this effect. But yeah, that's it. So I think I will, let's see, I'll have to say, he's not obviously getting this for Christmas. Maybe it'll be for his birthday in about 5 months. But I think once I get past one of these pieces, I'll get the other front done, and then I'll get started on the back. But I have to say the Mary Maxim patterns are definitely unusual, and I think these intarsia patterns are made with no consideration to yarn management and how the knitting actually works. Yeah, they're challenging, a little challenging on the intarsia front. But yeah, so that has made definite progress. Now, the next one is the, oh yes, for those who've been seeing it all along, my year-long blanket. Let's get this up here. Oh, I heard something fall. I think it was a stitch. Sometimes I'll lose a stitch marker in the middle of working on this, and so it's such a big project that it gets lost in all the folds, and so I end up getting another stitch marker to replace it, and now I just heard one fall out that I'd lost. All right, so let's see if I can show the progress here. So this thing is absolutely huge at this point. Ta-da. This is Stephen West's Brio Clava. That's the headpiece. This is his Slipstravaganza blanket. And so it's modeled off the Shawl. And I'm actually on the very outer, the kind of the last rows of this at this point. Let's see, actually I'm finishing up this row today where I'm bringing the brown, the main color back in. There you can see it there. So basically we've got these chevrons, and so the white, pink, and cherry, white, pink, and there'll be one more cherry one. And so that'll be one more row of brown, 6 rows of the cherry, one more row of brown, and then the I-cord cast off. So we're talking about 6, 7, 8 rows left to go on this, which will take me the rest of the month because I do about a third of the row. It's about 1,656 stitches around. But yeah, it's turning out so great, and I have no idea how I'm going to block this, but I'm going to be so excited to get this off the needles finally. And that reminds me, I am working on the spreadsheet right now for next year's blanket that I'm going to work on all year. So I've had this where I'm doing enough stitches a day, about 542 stitches a day, so I finished the blanket over the course of the year. And so I'm going to do the same thing with the bubbly, what is it called here? I think it's there it is, Bubbly Blossoms blanket. So I will try to have that spreadsheet up and available sometime after this episode goes live. And I think I didn't say what day it was. It is the 30th of November, so this will be going up on the 1st of December. But yeah, this thing is just colossal at this point. And I get, it takes 3 days to finish a row with the rate at which I'm going. Obviously I could do this much faster if I just worked on this all the time, but that would, I think, take the fun out of it if I did that. So I like spacing out that huge knit, making it bite-sized for the entire year. So yeah, so there's that. And then let's see the next one. Oh yeah, I've been working on my, where did I put them? My Rhinebeck, there they are. My Rhinebeck Roomy socks. I picked those back up and I've gotten, all right, past the heel. So there we go. So there's the foot. Now I wear a size 11, so this might look a little bit long, but that's why. And I'm doing, and it may not be, actually, let me get a sock blocker. Here we go. So I will put this on here so I can give you a better look at this heel. There we go. All right. So you can see I'm up past the heel, and you can see how this heel has a definite line along here. This is a Flegel heel. The pattern is called, I think Wendy Johnson's, it's her gusset heel basic sock. And so I've basically taken the Rhinebeck Roomies pattern and just imposed it, kind of put it onto this plain sock so that I can knit it toe up, because I do prefer toe up. But yeah, you can see that definite line there. And you can see the same thing on the other side. And that is a Flegel heel. So basically you create a gusset. You can see it increasing there. And then you consume that gusset by doing these short rows up the back to consume those extra stitches. And it works out really nicely. The pattern, this Rhinebeck Roomies pattern, is turning out really nice with this variegated yarn. And so yeah, so I just got to finish the leg and the upper part and then start on sock number 2. And so that's the progress there. This yarn is, I don't even have it written down here. Oh, this is, let me double check it right there, and my projects. This yarn is Primrose Yarn Company Ultimate Sock, and this is their colorway Animal, and I have no idea why it's got that name, but it's making a very nice sock. So there's that, and then let's see what's next. Then there's a couple of things. My 2 sweaters that I'm working on for me are kind of hovering along right now. I'll probably work on them more in earnest starting at the beginning of December. But I did make some progress on my Vera. It's a Satama Shawl by Vera Valimaki. And I'm working more of the single color brioche. Gotten about halfway through that now. So let's see if I can bring this out so you can see it. Yes, this would be the right side. And so you can see that down here is the 2-color brioche with the main color in front of the contrast color. The contrast color in the short row garter section here, and then finally this section of single color brioche. And what will happen is this will get about twice this length, and then it'll switch back to this 2-color brioche with the gray in front again. And then the last section will be the gray garter, like what you see at the bottom there. But yeah, this is turning out. I'm really liking the colors and how they're working out. This is going to end up being a very lovely shawl. There we go from the top. But yeah, and this, I'm knitting this with, one of them's a Madeline Tosh Merino Light in Great Gray Owl. And then this other section is Hedgehog Fibers Skinny Singles in Oracle. And so it's got these really bright pops of yellow and pink in there. Really love it. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to continuing progress on this one. It's so many projects with brioche, between the brio clava and now this thing. I have been doing a lot of 2-color and single color brioche lately. I did some repairs on this on the brio clava, and I should have filmed them for my fixing my knits videos, but I get impatient, want to fix it right away. It was early in the morning, so next time I do a fix on some brioche, I'll definitely record it. So that is all my works in progress. Now on my next thing, I've been talking about let me set these down here. Hold on a moment. I've been talking about my weaving in 10 a day, and I have been doing that, but not quite as much as I should be. But I did make good progress on this one side here. I've only got these left here, and then I still got the whole other, half the other side to do. And it is, I will say, I've mentioned it before, I think this pattern, the big mistake in this pattern is you have a lot of color changes and you have them happening at the edge of the shawl. And the problem is, because you have this yarn over section detail here, it's very hard to weave those back in to the shawl to get them woven in. It's kind of a pain, and I'm definitely not enjoying it. I love the shawl and the way it looks. It is beautiful, but the change I would make would be to eliminate this yarn over along the edge and just turn it into another garter stitch along the edge instead, to make dealing with the weaving in easier to do. So, but this is the trellis shawl. It was Jimmy Bean's Wool annual shawl for this year, which happened over the first 6 months of the year. And it's got, I'm trying to remember what this yarn is in this. It's one that I haven't used before. Let's take a look. Ooh, it's right there. There. It is Hedgehog Fibers Oh So Fine. And that's, I think, a 100, yeah, it's a light fingering 100% merino. And it's got some lovely colors and some great patterning in this. I love the details in this. Looking forward to wearing this, but I'll get there. Not enjoying it, but I will get there. And it's the only project that's in my finishing basket. I actually finished everything on this piece. There's no strands left, so that didn't go into my finishing basket. So I use when I post about finishing like that, I've been using the weave in 10 a day, but I've kind of almost completed that project. Once I get that done, I'm done with that for this year at least. All right, so now that's that. Now the Yarn Randomizer pick. Oh, it's over. Okay. Confessions incoming. So if you watch the little short, you'll know that the Yarn Randomizer pick number 30, I believe it's 31. 31 for this year, or is it 32? Actually, I want to be sure about this. Pretty sure it's definitely 31. Definitely 31, because I'm only doing 30. I have one more pick to go over this year, and that'll be it. On the last episode of the year, we'll talk about how I reboot the Yarn Randomizer, and here you're seeing this yarn down here. So this is Manos de Uruguay Maxima. So it is a single ply worsted weight yarn, and isn't this the most amazing color? It's called Shocking. Now I picked this up. There was one of the things I wanted to see was I picked this up on sale somewhere, and I want to mention where that was, and it was a while ago. Maxima. And so I did, that's very rare. I usually put in where I purchased the yarn at, but I would say it's worth going to, if you go to the Ravelry page, you can see places that have the yarn for sale there. And so I found a place that had this on sale, and not this and a handful of other really neat colors that I picked up at the time. But I absolutely love this. I call it Barbie pink. And I love the way it looks. So when this got picked, I really had to exercise some self-restraint and not start using it immediately. I wanted to make sure I did a little short with it and everything. But once I did the short, I jumped into what I definitely wanted to do with this. Now, there is I've made a couple of hats out of this Maxima, and they're both like the most amazing squishy soft hats. You cannot even imagine how squishy and soft they are. So what I wanted to find was a different hat pattern from what I'd used before, but one that would really emphasize that squish factor. And so I found the Pearl Soho. I've not done one of their patterns before, but they had a pattern called, oh, this is going to fall down here. It is called, it's right there, Soft Plus Cushy. And this is a hat that is using fisherman's rib for the ribbing. Now this is what it looks like on the outside. So fisherman's rib is half rib, excuse me. It's not doing the fisherman every row. Basically it's normal knit purl one row, and then on the next row you knit into the row below and then purl normally and do that all the way around. And this is the texture you get on the outside if you do that. Now, if you read the instructions for this hat, this is actually going to be the inside of the hat. This, you'll see this part of it when it folds up, but the top of the hat will be what's happening on the inside. And let me see if I can turn that around for you. Let's see what we can do. Oh, stabbing it. Being a little awkward here. Okay. I think this would be easier than this. There we go. Okay. Now I have turned this around, and here, oh, I see I've caught that loop there. I can at least show that. Can you see how every other row is very puffed up? This is what half fisherman's rib looks like on the back of it, on the inside from the side you're working it on. So this is what the top of the hat will look like, and then it will have this other texture, slightly less pronounced texture, folded over onto it. So, oh, and you would not believe how squishy this is. So I'm really looking forward to finishing. I suspect I'll finish this hat within a couple of days. It's a very quick knit, and I'm really looking forward to having this as a hat to wear. There's what happened to me. I got the cord hung up on the needles. Okay, so there it is back. Excuse me. Back to that. Oh, isn't that a great pink? So yeah, that had to go on the needles just about immediately. So that's pick number 31 for 2024, and that's going to be a finished object next episode. All right, so finally, I've definitely got a tickle going on in here right now. I will edit some of this out afterwards. Okay, so next thing is acquisitions. And so I got a, emails are deadly from from these yarn dyers, and so I really like Hypnotic Yarn. I used to subscribe to Yarnable, and it's great. If you want a monthly subscription service, it's fantastic. She has great extras, she does great dyeing job on her yarns and everything, wonderful stuff. And I only stopped subscribing because I got too much yarn over there. But she sent out an email, and she was having a sale on some of her colors that had come out for Yarnable earlier this year. She has other colors just on Hypnotic Yarn available on her site as well, and they're great too. But when I looked through, I had seen one of the yarns that she had this past year, and I wanted to make my husband another Musselburgh hat. I'd made him one, and I talked about it last time. I'm going to frog it because I ended up making it too big, and I'm going to use that same yarn double and make a teeny weeny beanie for him out of that yarn. But I wanted to make him another Musselburgh. And so when she had that sale, I saw this yarn here, and this one's called, it was the July, no surprise there for the colors, and it's called Oh My Stars. And so this was I picked up 2 of these because I wanted to make sure, do I have it here with me? not close. I have a muscle burrow hat I made for myself, and I use the entire skein of fingering yarn, but I wish it was longer. I kind of wish I had more brim to fold up. So I want to make one that fits him. He's got a big noggin, and then I want to make sure it has a lot of extra to fold up as well. So I picked up 2 skeins of this. So picked up this, and again, check out, I'll link Yarnable below, or Hypnotic Yarns below, but it was a really good deal. She had a special sale on those, and I got that for a really good deal. And so that is all the stuff. Now, I mentioned at the front that I was going to have another giveaway because I'm trying to ensure my stash does some serious reduction over the next, towards the end of the year, but then next year I'm going to be much more rigorous about incoming yarn and outgoing, what's outgoing and what's incoming, to make sure I really adhere to my twice as much out as in rule, because I do want to reduce my stash, and so you benefit. So here is the latest yarn, ta-da, that is being offered up for folks. This is a yarn from a dyer who doesn't dye anymore. This is Stitched Together, and this is her Targhee sock. It is, let's see, I think it's a mix. If I can read this. Oh, I don't see the percent. Oh, there it is. 90% superwash Targhee and 10% nylon. And this color is very funny. Ooh, I just popped that off of there. Swearing Like a Sailor, which was totally appropriate for me since I was a sailor at one point. But this is just really great blue with these really interesting other colors splashed in there as well. So if you find this interesting, I think you should use the word sailor in your comment. Now I have to warn you, remember, don't mention giveaway. We don't want the scammers to show up and everything. Just mention, if you're interested in a chance to receive this yarn, just mention sailor in your comment. All right, and that's it. I think, yeah, a shorter episode. I didn't have as much to go over, and it's been a crazy day again because we had the power outage and everything here, and so things got a little bit pushed around as far as what I would normally do during the day. I hope, for those who were in the US and celebrating Thanksgiving, I hope you had a great one. We actually had, I made sauerbraten, and that turned out really great for those, with the ginger snap gravy that goes with that. But have a tendency to do German themed dishes, which is part of my heritage and my husband's heritage as well. And then let's see, so yeah, so I hope if you were celebrating Thanksgiving, you had a wonderful one. And I hope you're enjoying your weather. Ours is definitely sweater weather here. It's very cold, but where it's warm, I hope you've got some summer sweaters or spring sweaters you can wear in the southern hemisphere. And otherwise, I hope you're experiencing kindness in your life and giving kindness in return. And I hope you're taking care of yourself. And I hope you're enjoying your knits. And I'll see you next time.